Hi, and welcome to BioFix Physical Therapy and Fitness. My name is Phillip Carr, and today we're going to be reviewing the Transverse Plank. Now, I really like the Transverse Plank because unlike traditional abdominal exercises such as the abdominal crunch or the sit-up, it is spinal sparing, meaning we're not going into repetitive spinal flexion, we're not going through that crunching movement, we're maintaining a neutral position, and we're also involving a lot more of the trunk muscles. Now, the traditional exercises that I just mentioned really target the rectus abdominis, but the transverse plank also gets a lot more of the transverse abdominis, the obliques, both internal and external, and the QL muscles. All the movement is recruited from the shoulders and the hips. So the starting position is going to be your traditional plank position, but instead of having both forearms out in this kind of position, one arm is going to be turned at a 90-degree angle, just like this. I start the exercise in a plank position, then quickly transition into a side plank orientation with a rotation at the right shoulder, and finish the exercise with a left hip abduction movement. My goal is to minimize any movement in the spine and rely solely on mobility in the shoulder and the hips. Additional benefit, apart from working the core with this exercise, is it requires significant shoulder and hip stability and strength. Here we've increased the difficulty of the exercise by adding a Theraloop just above the ankles to increase the resistance on the hip abductors. Just like any of the exercises we perform, it should be challenging but not cause any pain. Here we have our spinal model. Some of the highlighted points I want to touch on is the white part. That's the invertible disc between each vertebrae, which is the yellow part. When we do our traditional abdominal exercises, such as the crunches or the sit-ups, we can really stress the disc, and we can sometimes lead to herniations, which is kind of demonstrated by that little red blob that you can see. When we get those herniations, we can get that wrapping sensation that goes around the lower back, maybe just above the bony part of the pelvis. Or we can get the symptoms that go down the leg, the uncomfortable, everyone knows the popular sciatic pain radiating down the back of the leg and into the calf and sometimes into the foot. I demonstrated the transverse plank a couple different ways. I added the open chain hip abduction when I entered the side plank position. Other ways you can make it a little more difficult. You can get a Theraloop, wrap it around your knees or your ankles so you're getting additional recruitment of those hip abductors. You can also go to a cable system, and so when you are turning onto your side, you can do a horizontal shoulder abduction, so you're getting the upper body. I know you're stressing the lower body when you're using the Theraloop and when you're using the cable system, the upper body, but it also applies a little additional stress on the lumbopelvic muscles, so you're getting that extra challenge on the abdominals. Thanks for joining us for our review of the Transverse Plank today. My name is Phillip Carr. This is BioFix Physical Therapy. I hope you get to join us again sometime soon.